Okay, let's take a quick look at resume exercise 4, resume 4, the fourth week of the resume, your overall project. In some ways, I think that perhaps not quite as ambitious as the third level, which had a lot of changes, but there's some big things here, adding color and links. The structure won't change too much. You're just going to change the name of the root folder. Delete the silhouette image. Don't need that anymore. Also delete it from the HTML. Of course, this handout is on Moodle. You can look it over yourself. You probably just need the instructions from the handout, but I'll do a little video for it anyway. The index page, now the structure of it, you may have to make some changes to unify it with the rest of the site. Remember, it's all using the same CSS document, but make sure that the structure is parallel. Every one of these pages has to be its own thing with its own HTML structure and headings and title, yet they need to be related in overall look. I want you to add a samples page. You can call it what you want. Maybe it's called samples to HTML or something else. This is a page in which you're going to display work you've done you want people to see. More about that later. It'll be incomplete at this time though, but at least you can get it started. And add an images folder to your root folder. This is in your root folder now, in which you're going to start to put some sized images. I think I asked you to put a minimum of 3 at this time and make some suggestions for sizing further on. But remember to keep your original images safe outside the root folder, in your project folder, probably in an originals folder. Okay, the first thing you do is make all changes and corrections that I've suggested. Hopefully you've stayed on track. I don't like to see repeated errors, things I suggest you change and then they just show up again. That leads to significant deductions. Add links. This is a big deal. I want you to add links throughout your site. Every page should have links. These are external, absolute links. You've learned how to make links. You've had exercises in it. Think about when you mention SUNY Plattsburgh, there should be a link to SUNY Plattsburgh. When you mention other colleges, publications, clubs, departments, majors, employers. So every job that you have, almost certainly all those businesses have websites. You should be linking to it. Imagine any reader going through here and saying, oh, SUNY Plattsburgh, I wonder what that is, and being able to click on it. The web is about links. There should be a lot of links on your page. Obviously, don't link to something which is really just a tangent, just a little mention, which is not important, but there should be links everywhere. We don't repeat links on a single page. So if you mention SUNY Plattsburgh 3 times on a page, you only link to it once, usually the first mention, although not in the heading. Yes, you can link in the headings. It works out fine. It just makes your life harder. Because why? Because your heading is bigger. It probably has a color on it already, which gets confusing. I strongly suggest you keep your links into paragraphs and lists, the regular reading copy. And then your link styling becomes simpler. To do that, though, you may have to do some rewriting. And are you going to use a target blank? Probably not, but you can read about that here. Again, I said if you mention SUNY Plattsburgh 3 times on a page, just link once. On the other hand, if you mention SUNY Plattsburgh on a different page, go ahead and link to it there. And on a third page, go ahead and link to it there. So the links are repeated through the entire website, but only one link to each place on any individual page. Let me show you something here in Notepad++, or actually over here. Remember this page we were working on the other day when we were doing the box model stuff? Just for example, this is like a piece of my resume, right? Supposedly. A little piece of it. Journals and lectures, SUNY Plattsburgh, so on. Would I link to it here, SUNY Plattsburgh? No, I would not. But I have SUNY Plattsburgh in the paragraph that follows it. If I didn't include the word SUNY Plattsburgh here, and you may not have, then you have to do some rewriting to get the words you want to link to into the paragraphs and lists. Press Republican, it's in the header. Well, I wouldn't link to it here, but I would link to it down here, right? As a job. And I might link to some of these businesses that I mentioned and so on too. So just because I have a link to Press Republican in this paragraph doesn't mean in the same paragraph I might not link to something else. Why don't I link in the headers? Look, it's a different color. It's a gold color. It's bigger. my link styling already has certain color and other styling attached to it. It's going to make you confusing to put it into a heading. So stick to the paragraphs and lists for your links. But lots of links. Okay. And, oops, wrong place. Here we go. You should add contact information to each page. At this point, put it at the bottom, probably down near the copyright information. By the way, every page should probably have copyright information at the bottom of it also. It might be following a horizontal rule. That might make some sense too. Contact me at, give the email address, give a phone number. So contact information on every page. I think that makes sense for a resume where you really want people to contact you. On other types of sites, it may or may not make sense to put contact information every page. Maybe you're going to establish a footer area at the bottom, and that eventually will have it on every page there. Add colors. You've worked on colors in your color exercises. You come up with color schemes. I've maybe made suggestions about your colors you've chosen. Now it's time to take those colors and apply them to your site. So this might be a background color, maybe additional color stuff on the second background color, perhaps, maybe a header color. Certainly all the styling for links, which is going to include some colors and maybe other things too, should all go in here. So take what you learned from those earlier color exercises and apply it to your site. So you should have color work throughout the site. Samples page. Add a samples page. I mentioned this earlier, but just say, yeah, I know it won't be complete now, but at least you can get the HTML started out, and you can get an H1 in there, an H2, a title, maybe a couple of paragraphs, an idea about what kind of samples you're going to use. If they're photographs, you don't have to put them in yet. You might put some links in if they're links. So think about how you're going to handle that. Box model, design unified. So take what you've learned from the box model exercise to start to work on the spacing, proximity, right, of things on your pages. That should work through the CSS to all your pages. Okay. Think about the design of the pages. They should be somewhat unified. They should feel like it's a site. Feel like it all makes sense together. On the other hand, it doesn't mean you can't use some special things on certain pages because they're required. And how do you make those designs different when you have one CSS file controlling everything? Well, what you do it is you grab and identify that stuff with divs and IDs and classes, right? Images, I want you to start gathering. I warned you to gather the images already. Your goal is to have art on every page, and the originals should be kept safe. Now I want you to create an images folder in your root folder. I mentioned that earlier. And save size copies of at least 3 photos here. More is fine. Use Pixlr and the instructions from earlier about how to size them. What sizes should the photos be? I suggest the mugshot be 300 pixels wide. Other photos will be bigger, 400, 500, 600 pixels wide. Depending on the content, maybe you're starting to have an idea about how you want to display things. That will influence it. You can make a photo multiple sizes, actually. You can make a 400 version and a 600 pixel version of the same one. And you can still put them in your images folder. In the end, you're only going to have in your images folder of your root folder, you will only have the photos you really use. But at least you can get started sizing them. And put the name in the sizes, as I mentioned here. Using the size in the photo, using the size in the photo name reminds you of what size it was as you made it. And put those size ones in your folder is enough. You don't have to put them on the page yet. Check everything out. Are your links all working? Do your colors work? Are you happy with it all? If so, zip it up, upload it. One other thing about the box model I mentioned, I didn't actually put it in the instructions here, but you could add margin to your page now. Remember we did margin as part of the box model for the entire body? You could do that, start to establish a margin for the page. The end is near, just looking ahead, looking to the future, which is not much future left here on this page. Wow, I really screwed up the typing here. What follows will be resume final. I don't know what the heck happened here. Over the next week, you'll be adding photos, navigation, and layout. So that's to come now.